This is Shemy Schembechler. The University of Michigan runs in his veins. The son of legendary UM coach Bo Schembechler, Shemy had a golden road into football. And yet after he landed a job at the school that will always carry the Schembechler name, the younger Shemy was ousted days after. Why exactly?
Transgenderism must be eradicated. With
Republicans' fight against trans rights and their wish an already oppressed community no longer existed, many bad faith actors like Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, former President Donald Trump, the rest of the GOP's end goal was not to save women's sports, rather to serve as a pipeline of hate for votes. Schembechler appears to believe in this as well, liking a tweet from a bigot that claimed transgenderism is a mental disorder. When the summer protests took place across the country, in the wake of George Floyd's murder at the hands of Minneapolis police, many conservatives railed against them.
I am your president of law and order.
Even with the studies finding 93% of the protests were peaceful, including multiple incidents where white supremacists were found to break windows, light fires, yell at police, and rise the tensions of the protests, Republicans practically do the Drake meme and pretend they don't see it. Count Shemy Schembechler in that camp, liking this, comparing the January 6th insurrection, where an entire base killed people, threatened to hang the vice president, and tried overthrowing democracy, to the protests. He would continue showing his true self through his own activity. Benny Johnson, a grifter who had nothing after being fired from BuzzFeed for plagiarizing, made a pivot and is now a pro-insurrectionist personality at TPUSA.
That all of the water levels around the world rise by let's say 5 feet over the next 100 years, say 10 feet by the next 100 years, and it puts all the low-lying areas on the coast underwater, right? Which, let's say all of that happens. You think that people aren't going to just sell their homes and move?
just one small problem. Sell their houses to who, Ben? Aquaman!
Ben Shapiro is, well, Ben Shapiro. Shemy Schembechler thinks these people are wise, including their attacks on the LGBTQ+ community. As long as he doesn't go trans, a man with high character and courage like RFK Jr. will be tempting, wrote Steve Deese, a fragile 49-year-old for The Blaze. Hakeem Jeffries, minority leader for the U.S. House of Representatives, is a corporate Dem many progressives despise. We have our reasons to hold these opinions. Unwarranted is racism. Yet with this tweet, which reads, another nonsensical tweet from the leader of the House minority, Shemy Schembechler endorsed it. A despicable talking point is this from conservatives.
They were a slave. They were given housing, food, clothing, medical care. The people asked them to work. Yes, there were landowners that were violent and mean to some of them, but there were others that were humanistic.
Once again, Shemy showed his ass and also believes in the sheer stupidity Republicans choose willingly to peddle him. He appears to give the stamp of approval to Jim Crow actually was a force of good for the black folks here. If one is paying attention to the timestamps, you would see the dates of those tweets. They come before Glenn Shemy Schembechler was hired at the University of Michigan. These are major Division I programs who claim they vet everyone from the top down, yet hired a man who has this history. Schembechler isn't alone in his racist views of black men, but employing a known bigot to recruit black athletes to play in Ann Arbor is an even tough sell to commits when he is a co-leader in the scouting and recruiting department, wrote DJ Dunson. 3 days, he was ousted from his post with the Wolverines. He blamed his flippant behavior on Twitter, which is shorting just how atrocious it is. We don't necessarily see this behavior as flippant the way Shemy Schembechler does. It was hateful, racist, transphobic, conspiratorial, to give a few labels. We will not allow Schembechler to use anything but what it actually was when describing his activity. Jim Harbaugh, the head man at Michigan football, took the blame for this hiring. However, Shemy tried unliking tons of tweets. Reddit CFB had the number at over 1,000, and to that we say, too little, too late.